Amazing pictures there. Well, with me now is Russell Arnott, a presenter and consultant at the educational group Incredible Oceans. Mind-blowing pictures there. I mean, did it blow you away seeing those shots?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, anytime you go down in a submarine, you see some amazing creatures, but I think the fact that this plastic is going into the oceans and is ending up in the deep ocean, on beaches, inside animals, it really shows how pervasive it is as a substance.
Why do you think it's important that we study the oceans?
Well, first of all, we're used to calling this planet Earth. We should really call it planet water. There's always the statistic that's thrown around that 70% of the planet is covered with water. But when we look at it in terms of living space, because the ocean is a 3D living space, it effectively makes up 99% of habitable space on Earth. And then, I mean, we've explored 5% of it. So technically, that's 96% of our ocean, or of our planet, that we don't know anything about.
I saw one assertion that we have a better understanding of the surface of Mars than we do of our deep ocean.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly it. And I mean, we've surveyed a lot of the ocean, and we've got an idea of what's on the seabed, but obviously it's a moving substance that moves around, and when we did the surveying ages ago, each pixel was about the size of a football pitch. Now we've got the technology to go back, and each pixel's about the size of a football, but we're still, it's a very expensive, very difficult environment to work in.
You specialise in plankton.
Yeah.
What do we still not know about plankton?
Well, plankton, first of all, really important, there's loads of different types. Phytoplankton, for example, are tiny little plants that live in all of the world's water, and they produce somewhere between 50 to 80% of the oxygen that we breathe. So pretty important things, and can play a really big role in kind of climate change and climate regulation, and getting a better understanding of just how they work is really important, also for fisheries management, for example.
What questions have you had, and what do projects like Deep Ocean Live contributes to your studies, your investigations, would you say?
Well, I think things like Deep Ocean Live are really great just to get down into the ocean and to see things, and it's a really difficult, really expensive environment to visit, and having really high-profile cameras down there and a big team showing some of the things that go on down there is really great. I mean, I believe the statistic is pretty much every time we go down into the deep ocean with a submarine, we find an animal that we've never seen before. I think on average we find a new creature in the deep ocean every 2 weeks. So there's still loads to be discovered.
In terms of big questions for you, what questions would you like answered?
I think the ocean plays such a pivotal role in regulating our climate, and is going to really affect climate change as we go into the future. And having a better understanding of how ocean systems work is really key to being able to predict how humans are going to be able to cope with climate change into the future.
Russell, good to speak to you. Thanks a lot.
Well, we're joined now from central London by the educational consultant at Incredible Oceans, Russell Arnott. Very good afternoon. Thank you for your time. So, Danny, Faure, deeply worried there. Should we all be worried?
I think we should all be a little bit worried, yeah. We all live on this planet, and we're all contributing to its demise in our own little ways, whether that's deliberately or just by going around our everyday business. So I think it's important that everyone plays their part to try and reduce their impact and their plastic footprint and their carbon footprints.
So what can we, as a society, governments, the rest of the world do?
Well, you quite often talk about this whole reuse, reduce, recycle thing, and that's kind of in order of preference. And at the moment, there's, I think, too much focusing on recycling, and that we can just kind of get rid of this stuff and put it back into like a circular economy. And unfortunately, that's actually really difficult to do. So kind of reducing is the best option, and we need to kind of move away from a disposable lifestyle that we've kind of become accustomed to, and think more about the long-term solutions. And like when we use that coffee cup and just chuck it in the bin afterwards, actually that's going to be around on the planet for hundreds of years. So we need to think a bit further ahead than we currently are doing.
Words are all very well, aren't they? They have to be matched by actions, though.
Very much so. And as we're a bit aware, coming up in London next week, the Extinction Rebellion are going to be doing a lot of protests around nice peaceful protests, but they've been working fantastically with the local businesses and with the police to coordinate these, but I think they've had enough where, you know, actions speak louder than words, and there's been a lot of words, a lot of posturing, and the time has come for action.
Do you feel there's a sense here that we might go to this idyllic place, the Seychelles, and do something there, get rid of waste that we wouldn't do in our own country, just simply because we're abroad, or do people not really care?
Well, there's a fantastic movement that's actually come out of the UK called the 2-minute beach clean that advocates that anyone who happens to be a beach user, if you happen to be on the beach and enjoying it, just if everyone spent 2 minutes of their time, you can time yourself, just walk along the beach, and any rubbish you find on there, take away, put it in the rubbish bin or recycle it, then you're making the beaches a better place for everyone. And again, like, we're all enjoying the beaches, we're there. It's important that we all play a role in making sure that we make the planet a better place.
And the Aldabra atoll, of course, where Sky News was just a few weeks ago, and to which the president of the Seychelles referred, saying it's not our people, it's other people that are coming here causing all this.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, he was calling for a marine protected area, which is fantastic, and marine protected areas are really good at stopping fishing and stopping pollution immediately. But as you know, Danny Faure was saying, a lot of this plastic is coming from elsewhere. So countries that don't have a recycling system in place, or countries that, you know, we're shipping our recycling to for them to sort out, you know, in a very slopey-shouldered kind of way, this plastic is then ending up back into the ocean, where it's travelling around and washing up on beaches and places that didn't make it to begin with.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Many thanks indeed for your time this afternoon. That's Russell Arnott joining us from central London. Thank you.
Thank you.